40 workers of the Tariq Noor Al Huda construction company who are Indians have been kidnapped.
बस वहाँ लड़के का जो नंबर दिया हुआ उस पर हम कर रहे हैं, तो उससे बात नहीं हुई।
जैसे हालात हैं उसके हिसाब से तो वापस आ जाना चाहिए वो।
As the Iraq crisis escalates, hundreds of families in India pray for the safety of their loved ones. On News 360 tonight, we bring you ground reports, reactions, the government's plan of action and the way forward. Good evening, I'm Palki. I'll be joined by Arunodhay Mukherjee shortly. This is the top news tonight. The MEA confirms that 40 Indian construction workers have been kidnapped in Mosul. No information on their whereabouts, no ransom calls received. The government says it is coordinating with humanitarian agencies to secure their release.
जो ISI संगठन है उन्होंने उन्हें खाना दिया, रहने के लिए अच्छे रूम भी दिए।
The brother of a kidnapped construction worker tells CNN that all Indians are safe. Militants will release them if they can find a safe passage to an airport. The company tells CNN Indian workers have been shifted to North Iraq.
They've gone back perhaps with weapons that they've taken and looted from the major military bases, launching an offensive rather than just encircling the refinery.
ISIS rebels close in on Baghdad, just 45 minutes away from the Iraqi capital. The country's largest oil refinery situated in Beji comes under attack. All the latest on that story coming up ahead. But we're also focusing on all the other news and embarrassment for the Modi government over a union minister.
मैं नरेंद्र मोदी जी से आपके तहत भी अपील कर रही हूँ कि मुझे 2 मिनट का अगर उन्होंने वक्त दिया तो मैं तुरंत उनसे मिलकर अपनी बात कहना चाहूँगी.
Under fire from women groups in the opposition, Union Minister Nihal Chand refuses to comment. The woman who accused him of rape claims she is being threatened. She wants the Prime Minister to intervene and to sack him. New twist in the Preeti Zinta case. Neswadia's father and industrialist Nusli Wadia files a police complaint saying he's being threatened by the underworld. Zinta will record her statement this week. Maharashtra Governor Shankar Narayanan tries to play down the controversy over the likely removal of UP-appointed governors. Says no one has a permanent post in democracy. Sources say the Union Home Secretary called him 2 days back. Heavy rains lash Uttarkashi. The water levels continue to rise. The state government issues an alert. Father of India's atomic mission, Homi Bhabha's bungalow is auctioned for 372 crores in Mumbai. Maharashtra Chief Minister Prithviraj Chavan writes to the PM asking for it to be made a memorial. And humiliated by Holland, title holders Spain take on Chile today. A win is a must for the world champions. Starting with an international crisis that is hitting home. As Iraq falls to militants, concerns over the safety of Indians continue to mount. The Ministry of External Affairs has confirmed that 40 Indians have been kidnapped in Iraq, and they were all working for the Tariq Noor Al Huda construction company. The location of these kidnapped Indians is not yet clear. The MEA says no ransom call has been received and that the government is ready to work with anyone who can help in the rescue of these kidnapped citizens of India. MEA also saying that they will not spare any efforts to help these Indians. The Iraqi company official talking to CNN claims that all these workers are safe. They've been shifted to a location in North Iraq.
That these 40 Indian workers, I can confirm to you now, have been kidnapped. But they have also indicated that at this stage they do not know the location, working with several of our partners in Iraq as well as elsewhere to try and see what would be the best ways to take this our effort further. We have not received any calls of any nature from anyone who has indicated that about ransom.
Many of the Indians trapped there do not have their passports. When violence escalated, the company officials fled, leaving them to fend for themselves. We've been in touch with the relatives of some of these kidnapped, and they say the construction workers are safe but anxious to return home.
वो 10 महीने पहले जहाँ पंजाब में एजेंट था, उसके जरिए वहाँ पर कंस्ट्रक्शन कंपनी है, वहाँ पर वो टावर क्रेन चलाता था, क्रेन ऑपरेटर था। पहले तो 1-2 दिन वो रोता रहा था। सभी भारतीय मुश्किल में से जो पंजाबी लोग हैं, ते सर उन्होंने फिर जो ISI संगठन है, उन्होंने उन्हें खाना भी दिया, रहने के लिए अच्छे रूम भी दिए। तो ISI संगठन ने उन्हें कहा भी हम आपको ऐसे नहीं जाने देंगे, हम आपको सैलरी दिवाकर कंपनी से पहले भागी थी। जब साइड पर ISI वाले ने कब्जा किया तो कंपनी पहले ही उन्हें छोड़कर भागी थी।
And joining us now is Gurpinder Kaur, whose brother is one of those kidnapped. Gurpinder जी, हमसे बात करने के लिए शुक्रिया। आपकी आखिरी बार बातचीत अपने भाई के साथ कब हुई थी और उन्होंने आपको क्या बताया?
उन्होंने तब तक यही कहा था कि हम ठीक हैं, हमारे लिए कोई अगर गवर्नमेंट को अपील करनी पड़ती है तो आप करिए, कैसे भी हमें वापस लेके आइए, क्योंकि हमारे पास पासपोर्ट्स नहीं है, आने का कोई सलूशन नहीं है हमारे पास कि हम यहाँ से कैसे निकलें।
उन्होंने क्या बताया आपको किडनैपिंग के बारे में? कुछ जानकारी दी?
नहीं मैम, तब उन्होंने ऐसा कुछ नहीं बोला था। उन्होंने तब यही बोला था कि हम अभी सेफ हैं।
जिस कंपनी के लिए आपके भाई काम करते हैं, क्या वो उनकी मदद करे किसी प्रकार की?
क्योंकि मैम उनकी कंपनी के ओनर्स उन्हें छोड़ के चले गए थे 8 जून को ही, तो उन्हें यही था कि अब हमारी इंडियन गवर्नमेंट ही हमारे लिए कुछ कर सकती है।
आपने कहा कि कंपनी की तरफ से कोई मदद उन लोगों को नहीं मिल रही है।
यस मैम, उन्होंने यही बोला था कि कंपनी के जो ओनर्स हैं वो यहाँ से जा चुके हैं और हम अकेले रह गए हैं, तो हम यहाँ पे नहीं, मतलब अकेले हैं, हमारे पास कोई सलूशन नहीं है, हम कैसे वापस आएं, तो आप यहाँ किसी से अपील करो, इंडियन गवर्नमेंट से।
कितने लोग हैं वहाँ पे आपके भाई के साथ?
मैम उसने बोला था कि हम 40 पंजाबी बॉयज हैं और 50 बांग्लादेश के हैं हमारे साथ।
आपके भाई और उनके साथ के जो वर्कर्स थे, क्या उन सबको एक साथ एक जगह पे रखा गया है?
जब तक मेरी बात हुई तब तक तो ये सब एक साथ थे।
Right. So we spoke to Gurpinder Kaur some time back, and this is what she told us about where her brother is being kept and what kind of conditions is he in. A difficult time for all these families, some of whom have not been able to establish contact with their loved ones for the past 3 days. They're now appealing to the government for help.
तो 4 दिन पहले गल हुई है, आंधी उधर लड़ाई बहुत चल रही है, बस कंपनी वाले सानू रखे, हम कंपनी वाले उन्होंने बाहर कढ़िया हुआ, आंधी कंपनी वाले आप भज गए ने, उत्थे हमला हो गया लागे, आंधी को सिक्योरिटी गार्ड वाले भी भज गए, एक कंटीन वाला आंधे को रहा, वो अद्धा तुहाडे नाल ही रहू, जिथे जाओगे तुहाडे नाल ही जाऊंगा। 10 महीने हो गए भेजे नूं, ते 10 महीने बाद मैं जिन्ना कर्जा चुके गया वो नहीं पूरा आया, हुण गड़बड़ हो गई उधर।
Speaking to CNN in Punjab, Chief Minister Prakash Singh Badal has said that his government is also ready to pay a ransom if that is what is needed to bring those abducted Indians back home.
Sir, we have just got the news that about 40 people have been kidnapped in Iraq, and Minister of External Affairs also says that there is no demand of any ransom yet. The situation in Iraq is very uncertain. What would be your course of action now?
As state government, I have instructed the Chief Secretary to ask the DCs to visit all the families, and if any telephone or anything, any information they can get from them, they should inform me.
You seem a little helpless, but is there only certain things that the Indian government can do, and beyond that it cannot do much? Would you acknowledge that?
They should do the maximum. And I can say that if any they want any, I don't know, I should not say or not, ransom or other thing, Punjab government is ready to pay all the amount, if anything is required.
Sir, have you heard from the Prime Minister, Mr. Modi also? Because this is one of the first big crises to be hitting the government. Are you in touch with him also? Has he reached out to you?
No, actually concerned minister is Sushma Swaraj. So she must be in contact with the Prime Minister also. So she will tell me the whole thing, what they are doing, what can be done. Punjab is highly worried about this.
We conduct a visit to those nurses, and they are well now, and we provided them with some needs like food and some cash also to help themselves. The government troops are now having the initiative, and I think this information are not true. Those nurses are in well condition.
So what is the Ministry of External Affairs doing at this point? Our correspondent Amrita Tripathi with the latest.
The disturbing news coming in on Wednesday, confirmation that 40 Indians have in fact been kidnapped in Mosul in Iraq. Though there are conflicting reports that our correspondents and colleagues are picking up when it comes to some of the relatives of these 40 construction workers. We're told with the Tariq Noor Al Huda construction company there in Mosul. There's no word on their exact location. There were earlier unconfirmed reports that they were kidnapped while trying to sort of be evacuated from the area. Remember the swath that we're talking about, the violence really in North Iraq. We do have a confirmation though that the nurses, the 46 nurses mainly from Kerala in Tikrit, are safe, and that's certainly welcome news. The Ministry of External Affairs saying it's also looking at contingency plans, saying that it's been in touch with the International Red Cross, whose teams have reached out to these nurses. Not all of them want to leave Iraq at the moment, but some of them certainly do. The MEA trying to coordinate their travel, telling us also of 200 Indians who are working for a Turkish construction company in Najaf, that's south of Baghdad, who were feeling uneasy and wanted to leave the country. So they've coordinated with their employers, the Turkish construction company, enabling their departure from the country. They're going to fly out on Friday. You still have Baghdad Airport and Erbil Airport operational, but a huge certainly concern, not just for the Indians who are still in the rest of Iraq, and that's 10,000 at least, but for these 40 construction workers in Mosul, because there's no clarity really on who's holding them, whether it's ISIS militants, and whether they'll be calling to negotiate their release somehow. So it's a fast developing news, and certainly disturbing news coming in.
Disturbing news indeed. Joining us from Chandigarh, Jyoti Kamal tonight. Also with us, Arunadhay Mukherjee from the CNN IBN Microsoft Center. Jyoti Kamal, to you first. There seems to be a lot of confusion on where these people are, whether they've been abducted or whether they've gone seeking safety with a particular group. What are you picking up from the families?
That's right, indeed. A whole lot of confusion here over exactly what has happened there. And now this offer of paying a ransom by the Punjab Chief Minister is certainly a very peculiar offer, considering the fact that there has been no demand for a ransom. And in fact, family members saying that it could almost incite the ISIS operatives into making a demand for ransom, something that they haven't done so yet. So in that sense, they are concerned over that particular statement. But nonetheless, right now, the biggest confusion is that earlier they were worried that their kin is lost, that they are not being able to get in touch with them. They were worried about their safety. But now with this confirmation coming in that they have been kidnapped, they are now all the more worried and are almost in a panic mode, because they say that so far they haven't had any communication or intimation from their relatives whenever they spoke with them of their expressing any concern that they have been kidnapped. All that they had been saying is that the ISIS operatives have kept them in a safe zone, saying that it's not safe for you to go out until such time that we are able to ensure that your government is safely able to pick you up. We will keep you in relative comfort and safety, and that's what they are confirming, that they are getting their meals, they are being allowed to make occasional phone calls back here. So the ball really is now being thrown back into the government's court, that you find out where those 40 are and you pick them up, because so far as we are concerned, the family members say that the ISIS operatives want to hand them over, because that's what our relatives are telling us. So in that sense, definitely the pressure on the government now to ensure finding out where they are and picking them up. But nonetheless, a lot of panic across Punjab, not only for these 40 but also for others, because everybody has now started insisting, all those relatives who are there, that they need to come back. So in that sense, panic here in Punjab.
And these are typical cases, Jyoti Kamal. These are people who go via travel agents, often through illegal means, who do not have their passports once they get to the area where they're working. Some of the relatives telling us that they did not have their passports. The owners of the company fled and they were left to fend for themselves. They did not know how to get in touch with the Indian embassy in Baghdad, which is why they asked their family members to build pressure here in India.
That's right. That's the usual procedure there, that once these people, many of them go through illegal channels and therefore they are not very open about even talking about it. But once they land up there, their passports are confiscated. They do not have passports. They are basically at the mercy of their owners and the factory operators and also the industrial groups. And in this particular case, it is said that the workers were left in the lurch because no company operative was left to take care of them. And therefore, they in fact approached the ISIS and were given shelter by them. So a whole lot of confusion in that sense here. But yes, the passports are not with them. All of them are with the ISIS. That's what the family members are saying, the ones who have spoken with them, and all that they are asking for now is that their location needs to be found out and some sort of a safe zone needs to be created for them, or a safe passage needs to be created for them to be picked up. And but for now, very kind of sad scenes across Punjab, because these are people who have really kind of scraped together their last penny literally to go to Iraq, and now this condition has definitely come as a double blow for them.
Absolutely. They're looking for a safe passage, but is there a safe passage? What are the options before those who are trying to work out an evacuation plan, considering the road networks aren't safe anymore? Let's go straight to Arunodhay Mukherjee to get a sense of how bad the situation is on the ground and what can be done.
Doesn't look particularly encouraging, Palki, and that's what we are focusing on. We're trying to get you a visual understanding of what exactly we've been talking about, why this is alarming and how it affects India. So take a look at the first slide that we prepared for you. Fallujah captured way back in January. Tikrit and Mosul are the two major cities that we've been talking about, witnessed the maximum fighting really, and Mosul becomes significant because it is the oil-rich northern region which is currently under ISIS control. Now this is the other big development that took place this Wednesday, which has international implications. Why? Because Beji, which is Iraq's largest oil refinery, came under attack. The staff at that refinery had to be evacuated, and this is 50 miles north of Tikrit. Now the other big worry really is because this could have international implications as far as the crude oil prices are concerned. But the big worry is that where exactly does Baghdad now stand? Because we're being told by ground reports that ISIS militants, rebels there, are just 45 minutes away from Baghdad. This is the route that they had taken: Mosul, Beji, Tikrit, Fallujah. Fallujah had already fallen in January this year, but Baghdad remains a big cause for concern, the capital city really. Now, this is the point that the MEA really has to focus on. 18,000 estimated Indians are living in Iraq. 6,000 Indian workers are in the peaceful Kurdistan region. And the worry really is, if I could focus once again on these areas, this is where we're being told that the 46 nurses are stranded. Mosul, somewhere around here in Iraq, northern Iraq, is where we're being told that the kidnapped Indians are being kept. That is something that the MEA still needs to give us more clarity about. They are also assessing the situation really. And having said that, this is under ISIS control, and this is where we've been saying the focus of the Indian government will be. Former ambassador to Iraq, Suresh Reddy, has already been dispatched to Baghdad to help coordinate this crisis really and try and get the maximum out of it really, because he's been posted there for a while, so he would have connections as far as the efficiency and procedures to evacuate is concerned. Now that brings us to the final point: how exactly is the Indian government going to try and evacuate them from Mosul and Tikrit? We're being told that there is an air base here in Erbil. There is also, of course, an airport in Baghdad, but they're focusing on Erbil because Erbil is a place which is not seeing as much fighting as the other areas concerned. Indian Air Force has also kept large and medium transport aircrafts on standby for deployment at short notice. We are also being told that the Gulf of Aden is going to see an Indian warship being placed. That's not on this map, but that's a possibility that India is also mulling. A few Indians have already been airlifted from Samara, which is 25 kilometers north of Baghdad, and this is the worry really, and this is the challenge there for the Indian government, because airlifting is the only possibility. So if you are airlifted from Mosul, you have to then reach the nearby airport. From there then the Indian authorities then would try and bring them back to India, because road travel is extremely dangerous at this point in time in Iraq. So that is an option that is completely ruled out. Two major points I'd like to just come back to. One, what happens to the capital city of Baghdad? If it does fall to ISIS, then does the government there lose complete control? And point number two, the focus on the 40 kidnapped Indians somewhere around Mosul. Where exactly they are, how they are, is the big cause for concern for the Indian government.
Right, Arunodhay and Jyoti Kamal, thanks very much for putting that picture together for us. Doesn't look pretty, as you said. The government on its part saying that they're doing their best. They're talking to many agencies. They're working on many levels to ensure the safe release and return of these people. Foreign Minister Sushma Swaraj also spoke to some of the families of those kidnapped earlier today, who are now desperate to have their sons back.
बस वहाँ लड़के का जो नंबर दिया हुआ उस पर हम कर रहे हैं, तो उससे बात नहीं हुई हमारी। जो बच्चा वहाँ ठीक ठाक रहा तो वहाँ रह सकता हो, तो मानो कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है। भी बच्चा हमारा परेशान नहीं मन हो, सुरक्षा देनी चाहिए। हाँ जी, सुरक्षा देनी चाहिए उसको। जो मान ले उड़ाना चाहा बच्चा हम उड़ा बुलाने में राजी हैं। जो मान ले बच्चा हमारा वहाँ सही रह सका तो वहाँ हम कोई परेशानी नहीं है, पर हमारे बच्चे को परेशानी ना कोई भी हुआ वहाँ।
जैसे हालात हैं उसके हिसाब से तो वापस आ जाना चाहिए वो। बाकी सुरक्षा भी मान लिया मिलनी चाहिए उसको और वापस आ जाना चाहिए बस।
Let's look at the situation on the ground. ISIS militants are closing in on Baghdad. Not just that, they've also targeted the largest oil refinery in the country. Sunni militants have hit the refinery with mortars and machine gun fire a day after the Iraqi government shut it down and evacuated all foreign staff there. ISIS has about 10,000 Sunni militants fighting for it. It's in control in North Iraq and parts of Syria and is making its way towards Baghdad. Gun battles are on in Baquba, which is some 60 kilometers north of the capital. ISIS has also taken control of western districts in the city, and the latest on the brutality also coming in with conflicting reports on how some 44 prisoners were killed either by ISIS militants or police officials in Baquba ahead of their onslaught. CNN's Nick Robertson has the latest from Baghdad.
This oil refinery is very important to the Iraqi oil infrastructure in the country. If the militants can get control of it, then this is going to put a huge amount of pressure on the government to really launch ground forces that are capable of taking territory back from ISIS and the other rebel groups that are fighting with them and the tribes. But now they've gone back, perhaps with weapons that they've taken and looted from the major military bases here in the country that they've overrun in the past week, and have gone back and are now, it appears, launching an offensive rather than just encircling the refinery to actually take it, capture it and have it in their hands. I mean, people in Baghdad have become very familiar with a level of violence that anyone else in any city around the world would just find absolutely horrific. Multiple car bombs a day. Yesterday there were 5 car bombs in the city. One of them killed more than 10 people and wounded more than several dozen others. That was just one of those 5 car bombs. There are security incidents here.
Well, some say the ISIS, that is the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria, is the most dangerous terrorist group in the world today. It's also possibly the richest. Take a look at how they're funding this war.
In Mosul, Iraq's second largest city, ISIS struck gold, literally. They robbed that city's central bank, taking a large amount of gold and an estimated $430 million. A smash and grab like that, some experts predict, could make them the richest terror organization in the world. The Council on Foreign Relations reports most of ISIS's financing comes from smuggling, extortion, and other crimes. ISIS is even cashing in on oil, selling crude from oil fields they took control of in northern Syria right back to the Syrian government. The New York Times reports ISIS is also selling electricity from captured power plants back to the government too. In the Daily Beast, Josh Rogan reports that ISIS has also been funded for years by wealthy private donors living in countries the U.S. considers allies. Countries like Kuwait, Qatar, and Saudi Arabia. And that those governments, says Rogan, know it's happening but choose to look away. And all of this cash on hand only allows ISIS to attract more extremist fighters who are drawn to higher salaries. Big money also helps ISIS finance large-scale prison raids, liberating hundreds of fighters who then join their ranks.
Welcome back. Pressure mounting on the Modi government to drop Nihal Chand from the cabinet, even as the minister himself continues to be defiant.
Earlier in the day, the Mahila Congress workers protested outside the BJP headquarters in the capital, the issue becoming more and more political. Maria Shakil with the very latest.
क्यों मैं क्यों दूंगा no comments.
The Congress taking their demand for the removal of Union Minister Nihal Chand right up to the doorsteps of the ruling party. Protesting outside the BJP headquarters in the national capital. This after the alleged victim accused Nihal Chand of intimidating her to withdraw the case, also appealing to the Prime Minister for justice.
मुझे पैसे का, नौकरी का और ये सब लालच दिए जा रहे हैं और प्रेशर भी बनाया जा रहा है और धमकियां भी दी जा रही।
The Modi government, finding itself in the midst of a major political crisis, remains defiant. citing that the Rajasthan police had filed a report in the case in 2012 and the government then was that of Ashok Gehlot.
जिस केस का एक बार क्लोज कर दिया गया हो वो भी हमारी सरकार नहीं, कांग्रेस पार्टी की सरकार, मुझे आश्चर्य हो रहा है कि कांग्रेस के लोग भारतीय जनता पार्टी के कार्यालय पर क्यों धरना दे रहे हैं.
Even as the National Commission for Women sought a report from the Rajasthan government, the opposition Congress continued to mount pressure on the Prime Minister. Former ministers now asking Narendra Modi to walk the talk.
Well, I've heard the Prime Minister likes to present himself as a decisive, tough Prime Minister. And I would imagine that a decisive, tough Prime Minister would take a view on this. And I can't see anyone saying that we don't accept your view.
As the clamour for Nihal Chand's resignation grows, the BJP so far has chosen to back him. All eyes will now be on 20th July when the Minister of State for Chemicals and Fertilizers will be replying to the notice sent by the Jaipur court. The question now is, will Narendra Modi, the Prime Minister, walk the talk on the issue of women's safety and security? With Bureau Inputs in New Delhi, Maria Shakil.
Tracking that new twist in the Preeti Zinta case, the Wadia Group has filed a complaint with the Mumbai police alleging that group chairman Nusli Wadia has been receiving threatening calls from the underworld.
Well, sources say the first call was made to Nusli Wadia's official landline. When the caller was not able to get through to him, he called another secretary. Sources say the caller claimed to be an underworld don and warned that Wadia should not meddle in this case. The anti-extortion cell of the Mumbai police is going to record statements of both these secretaries. The Mumbai police has also established contact with Preeti Zinta. She is expected to record her statement by the end of this week. The police have also written to the BCCI asking for CCTV footage of the related case.
CCTV cameras वो हमें मिले हैं, BCCI ने हमारे पास में भेजे हैं. वो कैमरास हमने देखे और वो देखने का काम अब चल रहा है. Preeti Zinta has contacted us through her lawyer today and she has informed that she is coming back to assist in the investigation.
Mumbai police has now confirmed that the chairperson of the Wadia group, Nusli Wadia, did receive 5 calls through VoIP. 2 of the calls were answered by his secretaries. The first call was made on his office landline. Not being able to get across to Nusli Wadia, the call was then made to his secretary on her mobile phone. The secretary also did receive a text message which read, "Do not do mischief with Preeti Zinta," also going ahead to warn Nusli Wadia not to meddle in the Preeti Zinta case or else his business would suffer. As of now, the Mumbai police has already registered an offence on the basis of that text message that was received by his secretary. We're also being told that the statements of both the secretaries will be recorded as soon as possible. Meanwhile, the Mumbai police has also now confirmed that in the alleged assault case against Nest Wadia, Preeti Zinta has already agreed to record her statement and she would be coming down to Mumbai anytime soon to record her statement.
The high alert, meanwhile, has been issued in Uttarakhand after heavy rain slashed the area today.
Officials saying that they have identified 7 critical points and 3 danger zones in the region. They have, however, assured that these are only preventive measures and that there is no reason to worry. But the point is, this was exactly the same time last year when the same region saw the flash floods.
हाई अलर्ट हमने ये किया था, हाई अलर्ट घोषित किया था. कुछ डेंजर जोन्स हैं, वैसा दिक्कत वाली बात नहीं है, मगर हम पहले से काम वैसा करें ताकि इस आपदा को, अगर वो बहुत ज़्यादा बारिश आता है 2-3 दिन, उसको ठीक तरह से फेस करने में स्थिति हम रहेंगे.
Speculation now continues over Modi government asking UP appointed governors to resign. Maharashtra Governor K. Shankar Narayanan has said that such rumours are insulting to the constitutional post.
He said governors will only resign if asked by appropriate authorities to do so. This comes after the Home Secretary called Shankar Narayanan 2 days back. UP Governor B.L. Joshi resigned yesterday. Karnataka Governor H.R. Bharadwaj and Assam's J.B. Patnaik have dismissed rumours that they will be stepping down. The Maharashtra governor has said, and I quote, "No one has a permanent post in democracy. The rumours around the governor's post is an insult to the constitutional post. I will take appropriate steps if asked by the appropriate authorities."
All right, more news now. Reliance Industries had its annual general meeting today. Chairman Mukesh Ambani saying the next 3 years will be transformational for the company.
Some of the big takeaways from the AGM: Reliance will be launching its 4G broadband network in the next few months. 70,000 crores is being invested in the 4G broadband network. The company's retail business has grown 34% last year, and Mukesh Ambani's wife Neeta Ambani has joined the company's board. Reliance also saying that they will be making investments worth 1.8 lakh crores in the next 3 years.
The year 2015 will see the phased launch of Reliance Jio across India. Limited field trials with our initial set of services for the broadband services are already underway as we speak. Expanded field trials will commence in August this year across multiple cities. These trials will continue through the end of 2014 and early part of 2015.
We'd like to tell you that Reliance Industries is in the process of acquiring management control of Network 18 and TV 18, the companies that own and operate CNN-IBN and IBN 7.
All right, more national news now. In Delhi, the Union Cabinet met today and affirmed the decision taken by Prime Minister Narendra Modi to scrap the EGOMs and GOMs set up by the previous UPA government. The Cabinet also discussed the dates of the budget session. An announcement on those lines is expected shortly.
In Bihar, Lalu Prasad Yadav's RJD and Nitish Kumar's Janata Dal United are working on a new alliance. RJD will support JDU in tomorrow's Rajya Sabha election for 2 seats in Bihar.
In Maharashtra, the father of India's atomic mission, Homi Bhabha's bungalow, is auctioned for 372 crore rupees. The state's Chief Minister Prithviraj Chavan has written to the Prime Minister asking this to be made into a national memorial.
A kidney racket has been busted in Visakhapatnam. The Odisha police have arrested Seven Hills Hospital's director, Dr. N. Prabhakar Babu, after his hospital allegedly carried out a kidney transplant without following rules.
A Jharkhand court has granted bail to senior BJP leader Yashwant Sinha. Sinha has been in jail for the last 16 days. He was arrested on the 2nd of June during a protest against power shortage in the state.
Russia's Deputy Prime Minister Dmitry Rogozin met with External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj today. In the meeting, which lasted 4 hours, the two discussed energy and defence cooperation.
We'll take a short break, but lots more ahead on News 360.
And we're also taking a look at what India wants from the budget this time.
If I were Finance Minister Arun Jaitley, then I would ensure more funds for healthcare of poor people.
Welcome back. Inflation is one of the big worries for the Modi government at the moment, the figure touching a 5-month high.
In Delhi, the Lieutenant Governor held a meeting today to review prices of onions and potatoes. Stocks will be doubled at Safal outlets, we are told, and mobile vans will be pressed into action to sell these vegetables. Food Minister Ram Vilas Paswan, Agriculture Minister Radha Mohan met Prime Minister Modi earlier today to discuss ways to tackle food inflation. Yesterday, Finance Minister Arun Jaitley had set the minimum export price for onions and potatoes at 18,000 rupees per ton to discourage exports. The ministry also directed all states to check hoarding and to delist fruits and vegetables from the APMC.
The budget session of Parliament is likely to take place from the 7th of July to the 25th of August. Sources telling CNN-IBN that the railway budget is likely to be on the 9th and Finance Minister Arun Jaitley is likely to present the general budget on the 11th.
And in the run-up to that, we are bringing you our budget yatra that has now reached Lasalgaon in Maharashtra.
Well, it is known as the onion capital of India, and Karma Paljor is getting us the inside story.
For those who've never seen so many onions in one place, well, this is heaven. We are in Chanwar. This is one of the regions which contributes to about 25% of India's total produce. बजट आ रहा है, तो अगर सरकार को एक आपको डिमांड करना है इस बजट में, तो वो डिमांड क्या रहेगा आपका मेन?
मेरी आपके माध्यम से सरकार को ये विनती है कि हमें 24 तास बिजली दे, हमें प्याज का जो एक्सपोर्ट चालू खुला रखे, हमें जो काम प्याज पर एमईपी हरदम लगाई जाती है और प्याज एक्सपोर्ट को लेकर रोक लगाई जाती है, वो रोक पर रोक न लगाए और प्याज को हमें हमारा जो उत्पादन खर्च है जो जितना प्याज निकालने में खर्चा आता है 1 क्विंटल प्याज निकालने में लगभग 2-2,500 रुपया 1 क्विंटल के लिए खर्चा आता है, उससे ज़्यादा हमें 2 पैसा मिले। ऐसा मिला तो ही किसान कहीं चल सकता है, नहीं तो एक दिन ऐसी नौबत आएगी कि किसान प्याज लगाना ही छोड़ देगा।
और ये तो हो रहा है क्योंकि सोयाबीन में जा रहे हैं।
हाँ, सोयाबीन में जा रहे हैं, कोई मक्का क्रॉप पर जा रहा है, कोई डालिम हुए, ग्रेप्स हुए उधर जा रहा है, और प्याज की बुआई कम हो रही है।
And those were onion farmers, but what does India Inc. expect from the budget? Listen in.
He must create proper incentives for the real estate sector and for construction. And there I think he must clarify whether service tax and, service tax and value-added tax in the form of excise or other taxes can be levied on the same amount of money, same amount of services, same amount of billing in real estate. There's a dispute today because service tax is also levied and the states are levying VAT. So you must clarify that very clearly and make sure that things are done. And then some of these policies like breaking the promises made by imposing MAT on SEZs should be done away with. So overall, I think the tax policy side to make sure that the tax assessment procedure, administrative procedure becomes much better, tax efficiency goes up, undoing the retroactive aspect, investing in certain areas, having a honest, straightforward budget and standing up with the people and giving a sense of direction. I think if we were to do all that, I think it will be exceeding my expectations.
Getting you all the FIFA action now. Tonight, defending champions Spain will try to knock off the 5-goal pounding they received at the hands of the Dutch.
And they're taking on Chile in their second Group B game at Rio. We're leaving you with this preview.
For the last 6 years, they have been by far the best national team on the planet. A hat-trick of titles sealing their place in history. But Spain's golden generation faced their biggest test ever. Simply blown away by the rampaging Dutch in the tournament opener, the clash against Chile tonight will be crucial for their legacy as well as their psyche.
It's very true that we're very hurt. We are in a situation with great responsibility, but we've been given one more chance to continue in the World Cup, which is what we want. With that responsibility and due to the situation, we want to find the solutions to continue.
Adversity brings out the best in champions. But can Spain come to grips with the emotional scarring after that 1-5 defeat? Vicente Del Bosque banked on his tried and tested players to do the job, and that backfired. Captain Iker Casillas will be lucky to get another game. The orchestrator of the Spanish carousel, Xavi, and striker Fernando Torres look past their sell-by date. What Del Bosque has though is options. The talent on the bench is better than the first 11s of most teams.
I think that what happened during our first match is something that we must forget. We have to put that behind us, and now we have to play 2 more matches that are like finals. We had a similar situation during the last World Cup, so we will have to play the next 2 games as if they were finals as well.
And in Chile, Spain run into a South American team who will be raring to have a go at them and be remembered forever in the annals of World Cup history. There is no shortage of flair, and with Spain needing goals, there will be spaces to exploit.
I think Spain is one of the best teams in the world and has the best players in the world. They want those 3 points. We also want them, of course, because that will mean we will progress to the knockout stages. I do think Spain are under pressure.
It's too late now for Spain to change the way they play. The golden generation face the game of their lives.